I'm just doing it at a different level than you are. So a lot of the same scenarios that you're going through within your life and within your business, I feel the same way and I look at it the same way. It's just a little bit bigger business structure right now. Your business grows only to the extent you do. Obviously, you have to constantly be working harder on yourself than on your business, because your business will only grow to the extent you do, obviously. And the purpose of business is to find the perfect life. The book says it's the millionaire real estate agent, but at the top of it, it says it's not about the money, it's about being the best you possibly can be. So ultimately, that to me is what the book's about. It's not about netting $1 million, receiving $1 million. It's about whatever that perfect business looks like in your mind to have that perfect life that you want to see yourself have. That's going to give you the roadmap to achieving that. And these are just going to give you numbers. If you want to net $1 million or you want to receive $1 million, it's going to show you that roadmap. But you can break it down to $100,000. You can break it down to $50,000. Whatever your comfort zone is to have that perfect life that you're looking for is right here in this real estate book.
Yep. And also on the back of it, I found was interesting, the little black line says, in this revolutionary handbook, you'll learn. So it's meant to be a handbook. It's meant to be read and looked at and broke down. You see, I got mine cut and bound, spiral. This is what we call our business Bible, you know, so.
Michelle, do you mind sharing, tell me a little bit what you know about this book, how it was put together, give me the rundown. Gary Keller pulled some of the top realtors throughout the country, not just Keller Williams.
Not just Keller Williams agents, actually all the ones that were producing at millionaire level, netting million. And
Or
gathered
something close.
information, and what happened was, over the time of his research, he realized that they all had similar themes that were running through. They didn't do it exactly the same, but they all had similar themes about having models and systems to what they were doing. And this book, that was written by Gary Keller, is not a Keller Williams book. It's for real estate agents across the board. And it is the successful models and systems that we know work, foundational models and systems. And we come into this business typically as entrepreneurs because we want the freedom and flexibility that real estate brings. The reality is that we also don't come with the models and systems. And this builds a strong foundation for your business, and it can grow to whatever level that you want it to based on how you personally grow through that. And I think that, we think that we do it our way, and the truth is that success leaves clues. This book is about the clues that all of the multimillionaire and millionaire real estate agents left by their businesses, saying, here's the things I did, and it all started having themes to it.
One thing I want to point out, though, is the funny thing is when I get away from the book, I struggle. And when I go back to the book, I succeed at a higher level. But it's funny, sometimes things will be happening, the business will be growing, you'll be closing more and more transactions, more and more revenue, more and more leverage. And it's funny how it starts just falling in line with what this book says, and you have no clue it's actually doing that. But then you'll review back, you're like, heck, my business has done that, and I don't even remember that portion of the book, or I haven't reviewed that portion of the book. This is the way that these top producers have done it, and it's gonna happen to you one way or another, if you like it or not. It's just an easier way and a faster track to get to that level of success much sooner than 20, 30, 50 years, which the first page here we're going to is the Methuselah method, which everybody is successful at a high level if they do it long enough. If you wanna cover that, page 45 is where we're gonna start.
It's all about what you focus on. The formula is straightforward. Think big, act bold, and you live a larger life. Basically, everyone's on track to be a millionaire. I'm certain that given a long enough timeline, everyone will reach $1 million income mark. This approach is called the Methuselah method. Of course, there are those of you that want to get there a little bit faster, like on a 30-year, 15-year, 5-year plan. Those who want to get even there more quickly know they will need a big plan, preferably a simple, straightforward one. Our goal with this book is to share the big plan. We found people often imagine that success in business is much more complicated than it really is. And they like playing what's called the blame game, or I didn't know. It allows us to blame our failures on things that we did not know or understand. So if you play the game, you may be looking for the big secret. It's funny because Lewis and I have people all the time come up to us and want to know, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce? So,
The one thing that I think the Methuselah method misses, though, is the resilience and the toughness to get up when you're knocked down over and over and over again. Most people quit before they get successful because they can't get up over and over and over again, because there's a lot of failures. We find all the time the most successful people fail the most. I mean, you hear Abraham Lincoln, you hear all these great superstars that are highly successful in the eyes of the public, but but they fail over and over and over again. So to become the Methuselah method, you have to ultimately be able to get up and dust yourself off, learn from your mistakes, and move forward.
Yeah.
I think that's the one piece of that theory is missing.
So if you're looking for the big secret, because you want success to come easy, you're not alone. Here's the truth about the big secret. Success is less complicated than what most people make it. You want to know that if you seek complex solutions to complex questions, you'll end up chasing complexity your whole life. On the other hand, if you can decide to seek simple answers to complex questions, you will find good, simple answers and spend the rest of life taking action. That's the difference between seeking truth and living it. That's taking action.
And I think I had mentioned this a little earlier. With football, I started as a 13-year-old boy playing football in middle school. And my plays were less complicated in my mid-20s playing for the Carolina Panthers than they were when I was 13 years old. You simplify it until it becomes unconscious consciousness, because it just comes out of you. It just becomes a part of you. And that's the same principles that we, in real estate sales, within business, etc. Simplify it, make it efficient, make it work for you. So the more complicated you make it, the more difficult it becomes. Success is simple.
Yeah, it goes back to the bowl law. Just out of curiosity, show of hands, how many people have taken bowl here?
So 3/4 of the room.
Okay, cool. All right.
So y'all know some of the stuff that we're mentioning. Okay?
Well, good. Peter Ducker says, plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. So,
That says that you need to get into action. You can't just
Right.
have all this waiting around and plan and put it together. I think, Michelle, you had mentioned when you first got in business, it took you a long time to get up and running because you wanted to learn everything. You wanted to internalize.
get ready,
Remember
get
that
ready.
when you get right? At some point, you just have to start doing it, and you're gonna have mistakes, you're gonna fail from them, you're gonna learn from them, regroup, re-put the system together and move forward. And I think that's what that point's making there.
So basically, you control your own destiny because you do have a choice. One, you can practice real estate as a job, or two, you can run a real estate practice as a business. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'd rather run it like a business than have a job.
And
that's what we do.
unfortunately, I bet 90% or more agents run it like a real estate job, like a salesperson. If they would get out of their own way and try to open their mind a little bit, if you can get to the point where you're running like a business, that's when it becomes very lucrative, and you can do the type of things that you envision yourself doing. All right, what page are we on now?
We're on the top of 31. I must create a system or be enslaved by another man's. William Blake. So Lewis, do we have systems in our office?
Yeah, we do. Systems are ongoing, we're constantly doing that, we're constantly changing, not changing them, but making them more efficient. Everything's efficiency. When you're turning an awful lot of properties, 200 properties a year, you have to have a high level of customer service, you have to have tight systems, you have to have a model or something that you're following. And the great thing about the book itself is that a lot of the models and systems are already in here, and then you just tweak them and customize them to the Williams team, to whoever the realtor may be. Go ahead.
Like what type of systems? Give us an example.
Well, we'll go through it in here. Yeah, we'll get there.
I mean, from the way my listing presentation is, the way our buyer's presentation is done, it is done just like it's me physically doing it every time. And it's done to my standards and what I expect. And they've given it, Nicole has done it numerous times in front of me, and I have to make sure it's done the way that I expect because they're not coming to Lewis Williams. They're not looking for a realtor. They're looking for a house. They're looking for results. So long as I can give them the systems, the results, what they're looking to get, it doesn't matter if it's me doing it, Nicole doing it, Lance doing it, whoever else whoever the listing presentation, et cetera. We haven't had a problem or a fall off in business since I didn't actually continue. The business has exploded since I quit selling. Because now I have better salespeople working for me than me. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm probably one of the worst salespeople in here. But business-minded and discipline and effort in doing what it takes to succeed, that's where the success comes from on our team.
On page 36, the four things. Number one, long ago, I realized that success leads clues. The people who produce outstanding results do specific things to create those results. Number two, actions are the source of all results. This process of discovering exactly and specifically what people do to produce a specific result is called modeling. Number three, modeling is the pathway to excellence. The movers and shakers of the world are often professional modelers. People who have mastered the art of learning everything they can by following other people's experience rather than their own. And 4, to model excellence, you should be a detective, an investigator, someone who asks lots of questions and tracks down clues to what produce excellence. Building from the success of others is one of the fundamental aspects of most learning.
The key piece here is the standing on the shoulders of giants. My listing presentation is Diana Kokoska's listing presentation. My buyer's presentation is their son's buyer's presentation. I've just taken what they have provided me already, tweaked it and customized it for myself, and now it's spit out the Williams team. It's not don't reinvent the wheel if the wheel's already invented for you. And people that succeed at an extremely high level have already shown me the path to success. Let me do it, make it my own, customize it, and now it's me.
And to kind of back that up, modeling is also scripts and role play. Lewis, scripts, how many people do you do?
I have, right now, I have 2 separate people that I script with. I've been doing it for over 3 years. And that's another, I mentioned that in bold, as people that have been in my bold class. That was a huge, when my business, my sales business started to explode, is when only scripted dialogue came out of my mouth when talking about real estate. And everybody else, it doesn't sound like me, it sounds, well, guess what? The scripts work, and then once you've internalized them and make them unconscious consciousness, it comes out like Lewis Williams. It comes out like Michelle Thompson. It comes out like you. You're just using the scripts and dialogues to get them to their goal and where they want to go. So I still do that. I don't even sell anymore, and I still do that every day because I think it's that important. Because that's one of my 5 job profiles: lead generate, lead follow up, run appointments, negotiate contracts, and script and role play. And that happens every day, 5 days a week, and sometimes 7 days a week on the week, because I do still, I enjoy working, so I do come in on the weekend.
Yeah, we talk on the weekends too. Models break through ceilings. On page 38, natural ability versus an achievement of ceilings. People tend to predict success based largely on a person's natural ability. Lots of natural ability can lead to overconfidence. Likewise, lack of natural ability contributes to low confidence, so much so that many may never attempt tasks that appear to be outside their realm of natural abilities. The truth about ability is that it is neither set nor predetermined. However, it can be developed or it can be wasted. That's why we script and role play every day to hone in on.
And if I'm gonna hold my salespeople to that standard, I'm never gonna ask them to do something that I'm not willing to do that I've never done today. So if I'm gonna lead by example, I have to still do those things that I hold them accountable to. And I think the whole thing, natural ability to achievement ceilings and breaking through, that all goes back to entrepreneurial to purposeful. And as you grow your business, as you go from 1 sale a month to 2 sales to 4 sales to 8 sales, and you're touching more people's lives, you're gonna have to get more purposeful and build your business in order to keep moving through those ceilings of achievement, or you'll always have the same year, 10 years in a row, the same year, 20 years in a row. And
You'll
I don't know
start
about me,
over.
but that's not where I want to be.
You'll kind of start over in business every year. Every year you'll be starting over again, and you'll just keep hitting your ceiling.
I always tell my kids, the goal is to run a predictable business that gets predictable results. And the only way to do that is to run a business, know your numbers, know your profit and loss, know how many contacts it takes you to close one piece of business. You think all that stuff is just a pain in the rear end to do it cold, but it works. It's coming down the ladder from people that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars in transactions a year.
Bottom line is natural ability can only take you so far. No matter how gifted you may be, everyone will hit their own ceiling of achievement, whether it's low or whether it's high. And when you hit that ceiling of achievement, you know, it's up to you to break through. It's kind of going, it's taking back, going from E to P.
You all have any questions about that? Pretty straightforward. Any concerns, any questions?
Now, next week, we'll talk about numbers and running the numbers. Next week's class will be more into the math, where we'll break down some of the numbers and see where you need to go. So we'll get to that point. You gotta lay the groundwork first. So the 3 L's of the millionaire real estate model. Leads, number 1. The success in real estate, you must have client leads. It's that simple. Until you have enough leads to meet or exceed your goals, there is no other issue. Everyone has 2 jobs, their chosen profession and lead generation. We actually heard Gary Keller, when we went over, and looked, and met with the expansion group. Gary Keller came in and spoke for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And the biggest thing I took out of that is he more or less said, he who controls the leads controls the market and controls their destiny. Until you have enough leads, you have no other job to do anything but get more leads.
That's why our first, as a salesperson, lead generation. You have to figure out a way to generate leads, not receiving leads, aggressively going and pursuing leads. Until you have enough leads, you have no other job in this business. You cannot grow a business
No.
without leads. That's your revenue. That's what's gonna put the people around you to grow this thing as big as you wanna go.
And you know, it's not only a lead generation in real estate sales, but doctors, attorneys, dentists, everybody, you gotta have leads, you gotta have customers.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. I think people get away from that a lot. They don't realize every business you're in lead generation. Doesn't matter if you're selling clothes or
No.
running a doctor's office or a dentist's office, or what, you better find people to come do business with, or you have nothing. You have no revenue to run the business.
The next L is listings, the gift of the real estate gods. Listings are the high leverage, maximum earning opportunity in our industry. What separates the two, which means between buyers and sellers or listings, is the amount of time necessary to work them. Louis, how many listings are we up to right now?
Active on the market, we're right around 70 or 75 active. We typically take the goal, the line in the sand is 20 listings a month. We don't take any less than that. That's what we want every single month for us to hit the numbers we want. We backed it all the way out to know how many listings we have to take a month to break $1 million in gross commissions. And funny thing is, we're on pace to break $1 million in gross commissions. When you know your numbers, it becomes a predictable business that gets predictable results.
But there, that right there, kind of, it might have struck some of y'all, God, they taking 20+ listings a month. That might be a
Hasn't been that
limitation.
way
we
the
have.
whole way.
No, it hasn't been that way the whole time.
No.
But what it is, you know, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, we think we can do 20, we think we can do 24. And we've had some months when we do 27, but consistently, we've been hitting about 22 to 23.
For the growth
a
that
month.
we want to hit, we need to get 25 listings a month.
Right.
We need to take 300 and whatever that is, 300 listings?
Yeah, 300 listings.
Yeah, 300 listings.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how many calls, how many people?
We have 6 salespeople, minimum 3 hours a day lead generating, minimum of 20 contacts per salesperson. So that's 120 contacts. I lead generate in 2 sessions a day, so I'm making a minimum of 40 contacts a day. And we know it's a contact game, it's a contact sport, and if you don't make the contacts, you can't close the business. You have to be willing to ask for the order to get the order. Listings are a prospecting base, a seeking activity. I feel buyers is more of a cultivating type activity. But you have to be willing to seek listings, and we all know how to get listings. You know, they're the basic overview of what it takes to get a listing. Everybody knows how to get the lead. We're willing to pay the price to get them, or spend the time on task in order to achieve them.
Well, it's not an easy thing to do to pick the phone up every day and call somebody.
Right, and guess what? If you don't know what to say, and you haven't studied your scripts and dialogue,
You're not
you
gonna
feel
get it.
foolish on the phone, you have no chance on setting an appointment and getting in front of them to close a piece of business.
Right. And then the third L is leverage, time versus money. We've all heard that time is money. Well, that simply isn't true. In fact, it's one of the worst mental maps perpetuated on us by